This is Sharon, and this is part 7, I think, of all my decks A to Z, and these are going to be my M decks. So this is the Marielle, obviously. I have 3 copies of it. I have 2 of the first edition and 1 of the second edition, which is easily purchased for around $40 right now. So this is the second edition guidebook. This is the first edition guidebook. It isn't significantly different. A couple differences, color there. Yeah, so the images are black and white in here and color in here. So it's a little bit of a nicer book in the second edition. But again, so this one has the gold on it still and is untrimmed. And this one lives in this little, one of those, book box things that I decorated using black tissue paper. And this is trimmed and then edged in black. And I didn't trim all of the black off because I didn't hate it. It's just that it's too big on here. And the gold, I don't think really suits it. The Marielle, she wants black edges. And then in this bag, because I don't keep it in the big box, is the second edition, which is gilded in silver and is borderless. And then has the names, the titles on the cards. So I think the images are the same size. Yeah, they are. And this was one of the first tarot decks I ever got. And it took me a while I had some work to do, some personal stuff to work through. And so me and this deck, the second edition, bonded by me modifying it. And it was my own kind of therapy, kind of saying, hey, image, you're not going to bother me. I can do whatever I want to you to make you so that you don't bother me. Him. A lot of people have a problem with him. Like, I just covered him up. This is my soul deck. That's why I have 3. I will probably get, I don't know, I'm thinking I'll get another second edition just so I have one that isn't modified in case ever this goes out of print. There's like 2 or 3 cards that are different. Let's see. If you have so we have the 3 of Swords. I prefer this one. This one's okay, but it's so traditional and seems out of place with the Marielle in general. And then we have Judgment. They both have phoenixes in them, so I prefer the first edition. And then the High Priestess, and I like both of these versions of the High Priestess. This one is very evocative and has a lot going on. This one feels more Kabbalistic, if you want. I wish they would just come out with a new edition, the bigger cards. I actually like this gloss. And with all 4 of these cards, so you have the alternates, and you can choose. And then we have the Hierophant, which is one of my least favorite cards anyway in the tarot. I've made peace with this one. It's kind of weird, but totally in keeping with the Marielle. So again, I wish they would have a new edition with all the alternates. And then we just have different cards. There's just something about, the image is the same size, pretty much. Borderless, but there's so much energy in the Marielle. I feel, I don't know, it feels like the black border makes sense. Also, I think I really don't like having the titles on the image in here. I prefer it this way, which is why I have 2 copies of the first edition, because I love this deck. You gotta be ready for the Marielle. You see, the gloss just works better. I think. It feels cut off by having that title on the bottom like that. Okay, so that's the Marielle. And this is the Multi-Stabber Tarot. So this is it's kind of a funny name, but it's a tattoo art tarot. And it was started by a woman, so it's in memory of Mo Richard. And she was a tattoo artist, and she died very young from an aneurysm. And she had started this deck. I think she had done all of the majors and all of the aces. And then her tattoo artist friends came along and completed the deck. There isn't a whole lot of text in here, which is unfortunate. I'm sure she would have finished the book had she had the opportunity. But then it does talk about the different artists and their vision of the card and how they tried to complete Mo's vision of this deck. So that's the little book. I stumbled across this on Etsy. So it comes in a tuck box. Those are the backs. They're very pretty. I like that. I edged mine in black. Wasn't edged. It's like make playing cards, cardstock. A little thinner than a lot of decks. Kind of that plasticky feel. And it has a lot of animals in it. So this is an example of her artwork next to someone else's artwork. I think they did a really good job. So it doesn't feel like it's lost cohesion for the most part, even though it became a collaborative deck due to her passing. It still feels very cohesive to me. In general, I'm not a giant fan of collaborative decks because they just don't feel cohesive. Some of the art style just veers so far from other art styles in the deck. So I'm not sure. This one I feel like she had started and not completed. So let's see what it says about Two of Pentacles. Yes, it says that this card was unfinished at the time of her death. So, and I really like this deck. I like animal decks, and I like tattoo art decks. So that is the Multi-Stabber Tarot. And this is the Mystic Meg Tarot. So I believe Mystic Meg was like one of those call-in, dial-in tarot reader people, maybe in England or something. I forget the details. But the artwork is by Carolyn Smith, and I really love her artwork. So, and the book is fun because it's got, a love reading, a life reading, a luck reading, a cosmic counsel. So it's almost like if you were, on the phones, depending on the kind of reading someone had, you just look up and use these meanings, which some of them are, not how I read the card, but fun. And the cardstock, not awesome, not the worst, but not awesome. I think I found it on eBay, probably eBay. So, this feels very thothish, but it's definitely got, the stamp of Carolyn Smith on it, or Caroline. I'm not sure how you say her name, but I do like it. Some Egypt in there. It's got a lot of stuff thrown in it. And then these are fairly pippy, very pippy, as a matter of fact. Feel a lot like, my brain, Robert M. Place in the Angels Tarot. So, yeah, it's not my favorite that is like that. Don't love pips so much. And then we have the Princess, and the Prince, and the Queen, and the King. So, not a lot to see here once you get to the minors. Although I do like the court cards. Like the earth is trees. It's fun. It's just a little fun for me. It's kind of a novelty deck. So the Mystic Meg Tarot. And I recently got a hold of the original Mythic Tarot. So the box was totally beat up, and the book is coming out of its binding, although it's still all together. So pages are okay. And this was very cheap because of the condition of the book and the box. The box is just destroyed. I told them they didn't have to send it to me. They still sent it to me, but I don't need it. So you can get the new Mythic Tarot. The artwork is totally different. And this is the one I wanted. So finally got it. I'm low-key wanting to trim it. I have to look and see. I don't love that there's I hate when they put copyrights on the back. You know, I could trim it up to this gold, and then that would get rid of a lot of the white. But I don't know. Does that affect value? Am I worried about value? Because I just want, you know, this deck for myself. Mermaids. So I don't know. I can always trim it later if I really feel like I want to. The edges are kind of, you know, dirty looking, so maybe a little micro trim would help it. I don't know. Anyway, that is the OG Mythic Tarot. This is Madame Lydia Wilhelmina's Tarot of Monsters, the Macabre, and Autumn Scenes. Also just fondly known as Madame Lydia's Tarot. So this is a little guidebook that comes with it. Not a whole lot in here. But I also got the larger grimoire, which is really fun. It's kind of expensive. It still doesn't have, you know, a ton on each card. But it does have, like here, some extra stuff. So some cards have a little bit more. It's a fun little zine. And then I don't love the box that this came in. I forget what it's like. So I edged mine in this dark brown. Those are the backs. And it's kind of that same make plain cards cardstock again. The smooth, superior smooth. And it's a collage deck, and it's curated art. And it definitely feels very old world. And it's not like super macabre. It's not ghoulish or, you know, bloody or zombies or anything. It's a charming kind of macabre. Yeah, I think that's about really as ghoulish as it gets. A lot of masks. So, you know, it feels from the title like it would be a Halloween deck, but you could use this any time of the year, although it does feel very autumnal. I like that Ace of Cups. So that's Madame Lydia Wilhelmina's tarot. And this is the Moonlight Tarot. This is by a Ukrainian artist who I discovered just before the war hit and tried to order it and then couldn't for a while because the war, and then finally was able to. And this is an extra guidebook you can get for it. And I like that it has these little dot journal pages in it. And it's like a wooden cover, which is laser etched. It looks like it's a cool little book. You don't need it to read it. There is also an online guide, PDF kind of a thing. very limited though in the descriptions. Mine came in this bag. There's also a fancy box you can get, but I didn't feel like I needed that. And yes, I know I edged this. The edges were very white, and the cards are thick, so it was a white block with black and black, so it looked funny. And those are the backs. And the cards, even though they were thick, they're still very bendable and have a nice core in them. So, and as you can see, it's a tall, thin deck. So if we compare it to that card from the Marigold, it's taller and it's thinner. If you can tell that from this black on black. Generally, I don't like when faces are covered, and they are all covered in this, and it's a very pippy deck, but it's a very witchy deck. And so all of the faces have that kind of red mask thing on them. I fell in love with this Fool card. Again, with the mask like that. It's very witchy, but it's a very light witchy. It's not, doesn't feel quite as witchy as like the Pythonic is. But I still very much like it. So that's the Moonlight Tarot. And this is the Marigold Tarot. I got the book. I believe it's extra. Like you can buy like, you know, a combo off the website. But without the book, I think there's like an online PDF. So you don't have to have the print book. I can't remember. I like having books. I like having the physical thing in my hand. And this has like Punjab, Indian, and it's a very pippy deck also. It comes in this box. And it's black and gold and white, a little bit of white in it. And it's linen. It was kind of like the Game Crafter linen. And all of the figures are skeletons. And then marigolds play a big part in this deck. That's why it's named that. A lot of skulls. And then the suits are renamed. So we have wands, rings instead of pentacles, we have cups. And then, oh, we have swords. So only one's been renamed. So that's not too hard. Just have to remember rings are pentacles. Has a lot of flowers and plants in it, and they do have meaning. So, but it's very pippy, so, you know, not for everybody. And I really haven't used it that much because I'm still wrapping my head around numerology. But I do like it. And it came edged black. I think you can get gold gilding or black. So that is the Marigold Tarot. And this is the Mythologia Fennica Tarot. And I think you get the book separate, or you can, again, buy like a combo. I'm not sure if it's going mass market or not. Anyway, it's based on the Kalevala, the Finnish folklore right there. And so each card is a part of that folklore. So there's a whole story. So it's like reading, you know, a book rather than just a tarot guidebook. And not your normal fool, the magician. You know, this imagery is based on the story. So I use it more as an oracle right now than a tarot because it doesn't follow any system that you're used to. It's its own thing. It is technically still tarot because it has the 22 majors and the 4 suits and 14 cards per suit. And these suits are preserved. So we have fire, and you have the symbol. And then because the page Knight, Queen, King, I couldn't keep track of, so I put the letters there. I think I need to darken them up a little. And then we have water. And I think the characters do follow the suit fairly well, based on what I've read so far in the story. And then again, we have the page, and the knight, and the queen, and the king. And then we have swords, which are air. Page, knight, queen, king, and then we have pentacles. Okay, so then it's kind of odd to me that on the minors, you just have a number. Like if there's 2 little circles here, one could be the suit indicator and one could be the number. I might, since I'm already doing it with the court cards, I might resolve that as well. I hope that if there is future editions of this, if it's picked at mass market or whatever, some of that confusion is resolved for us. I would buy another copy of this were that to happen. Anyway, that is the Mythologia Fennica Tarot. And this is the Muse Tarot. And there's a 2-part box like this. There's the back. It is a collage deck, and it is very Kabbalistic, and it's gilded in gold. I like gilding, shiny. It has, this is a really thick little white book, really nice. It's has the Hebrew letter and the path and the correspondences, and they do that for every card, whatever the correspondences are. And it has little teeny thumbnails for just the majors, which again, I don't care about pictures in the deck, in the book, because I have the deck. So it's the guidebook. Then, so there's this Tree of Life card. And then, there we go. And again, it's like the Make Playing cards, smooth. And I like it. It's RWS, so you don't need to know all of the Hebrew letters or any of those correspondences to read this deck. You could just read it as an RWS, and then you could look in the guidebook, and if you wanted more information on all of those correspondences, they are there. So it's a nice learning deck to learn all of those extra layers without, doing like the Thoth or something that has like so much imagery in it. It's a little easier to absorb, I think. At least I find that to be true for myself. And it is a very nice collage deck. Very, very well done collage. And there's my Star Trek card, so I'm going to stop there. So that's the Muse Tarot. And this is the Mermaid Cats Tarot. There's no book, there's no guidebook, no pamphlet or anything. I think, well, there'll be links below. I think it's a drive-through playing cards one, and it was a Kickstarter, I believe. So there's the backs, little mermaid cats. 2 of my favorite things in one. And it's a linen. It's not like the Game Crafter linen. It's a much softer linen. And it's just these white backgrounds with adorable little mermaid cats. And it's RWS based, so it's easy to read. It's just a fun little deck, because mermaids. And if you've watched my channel at all, or even just this video, you know I'm all about the mermaids. I'm there for the mermaids. There's one coming out on Kickstarter soon. I need to do a video of upcoming decks that I'm looking forward to. Anyway, that's the Mermaid Cat Tarot. And continuing on with the mermaid theme is the Mermaid Tarot by Dame Darcy. I don't have the more expensive one in the clamshell box. I believe it's also gold gilded. This is not. And it's a matte cardstock, and it's pretty thick. It's bendy, but it's thick. And I love this deck. It's very, very summery. And it's not all mermaids. There's like pirates in it, and it's just a very, very fun deck. And I really like the artwork. And there's mermaids in it. And it's RWS based. She has a PDF, very small, you know, just short tarot descriptions of the meanings of the cards, nothing about the mermaids in particular. But I think it's fairly self-explanatory. Very, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. You know, it's kind of like zine art. There's a word. I'll probably put it somewhere. Those are the backs. Pretty sure that's the same backs, regardless of which version you get. So that's the Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot. And this is the Medicine Woman Tarot. This is a mass market deck, so it's inexpensive. And backs are plain, but okay. And it's a smaller deck. So let me grab a regular tarot card. So it's the same, it's just a smidge less wide, and it's shorter. And it has these couple cards. If you want to read what that says, I guess you can pause. It has a very little white book. And I don't even think it describes the cards in general. It's just, you know, mostly it's spreads and a description of the deck itself. Not much here. Well, this is editing, Sharon. I forgot that I had the guidebook, a separate guidebook for the Medicine Woman. I kept thinking, I have more than that little white book. So there is this excellent guidebook for it. And I forgot about it because I haven't done my deep dive on this deck yet. I'm doing Marielle right now. So, yeah, there's that. Totally forgot about it. So if you get this deck, you should get this book. And I very much like this artwork and this style of this deck. And I like that it has, you know, this kind of keyword on it. You do have the title up there and the number over here. So I really think this is a cool concept. Lover's Ecstasy. It almost feels like, you know, you could use it as a oracle too, if you wanted to just use these keywords. And then the suits are renamed. So you have pipes instead of wands. It's very nature-based. And then, that's the page, yes. So the apprentice is the page, and the totem is the knight. So that one, a little hard for me to remember. the Power Lodge, and then the Exemplar. So those are hard for me to keep track of. I might have to put little teeny letters down in the corners or something. And then bowls or cups, so that one's not too hard. I like that it's set on an island for the cups. There's a lot of water. And then arrows for swords, so that's easy to remember. And then the stones for the pentacles, so that's not too hard of a stretch. So those all make sense-ish. So that is the Medicine Woman Tarot. And this is the Majestic Earth. I was able to get this secondhand. It was already a seconds that they were selling, and then this is secondhand from someone. So there's a little wear on the gilding, but we don't care about that. And this is the book that comes with it. So I'm sorry this is out of print. Maybe someday they'll print it again. I don't know. And it has these extra elemental cards in it. No matter what. And those are the backs, which I just love. I need to do another little video on my most beautiful card backs, because this is going in there. And it is bigger than a regular tarot. Not a lot, but it is bigger. And it is all landscape art. And then it has some keywords on it and some associations. And it's curated art. This is in another deck also. I think the Noble Art Tarot maybe. There aren't a lot of people in this. It's mostly landscapes. People may happen to be into them, but they aren't the focus of it. I just noticed there's a face in that cloud. A lot of waterfalls. I'm all about waterfalls. Probably never said that before. Because not a lot of decks have waterfalls in them, but mermaids and waterfalls. Now, if there was a deck with waterfalls and ponds and mermaids living in those ponds, that would be something. I might have to just figure out how to do that myself. Curated art and collage, since I really don't know how to draw or paint or any of that. It's not the focus of my education. Oh, look how pretty that is. And the suits are renamed. I think the majors stay the same. So there is color coding also. So purple for the majors, green for stones, which are pentacles. This peach color for trees, which are wands. Yellow for clouds, which are swords. And blue for water, which is cups. So that is the Majestic Earth Tarot. And this is the Mythical Creatures by Baba Studios. This is the full color edition. And I'm sorry, this is out of print. And as far as their website states, they have no plans to reprint this in the future. I was able to get a hold of it secondhand for not too much. And this is the extra guidebook. I think you can actually still get this guidebook off their website, maybe. So if you really, you could still do like bibliomancy with it, maybe. I don't know. You'd at least have the pictures and talks about the artwork, and you know, it's curious. And it has the typical cold foil stamping on it, and it has a little white book, so you don't have to have the big book. There's still meanings in it. You could still read with it with just this, or it is more of a Marseille style pips, but they're pips with feelings, and so each card has an RWS meaning and a TDM meaning, which is very cool. I think that's very, very cool that they did that. And so those are the backs, some of my most beautiful backs again. And it has an alternate, I have the alternate Three of Cups in here. This is the more pippish one. Still beautiful, but the other one has mermaids in it, so let's find it. So very flourishy, minors, love that card. There's the Three of Cups with the mermaids, so of course I'm going to use that. It's really, really beautiful deck. One of the most beautiful decks, I think, that exists. I feel very lucky to have been able to find it. More mermaids. Feel very blessed to have this deck. That's an awesome tower. The Hermit is awesome. More mermaids. So I think we'll stop there. So that's the Mythical Creatures Tarot. And this is the Lunne Tarot. So I have two versions of this. One from Game Crafters, which is the linen, and one from Make Playing Cards with the smooth. This is the box that the linen edition came in, and it got tore up and it's taped. But it has the Make Playing Cards version in it. I think if you can also get a tin from Make Playing Cards. I didn't get that. I edged my linen edition, and it's kind of a mint green. So that's more of my working copy of it, and this is my backup copy, which the colors are a little bit more vibrant in this version of it. Anyway, I love this deck. This deck feels like home. Oh, it has these extra meaning cards in it. The Game Crafter one has a pamphlet, and this version has cards. This just feels like home. These people feel like home. I would love to live here with these people. I want to go to there, and I want to stay there forever. All the faces are so kind and gentle. All the colors. Why are these mixed in? Colors are so soft. And it's watercolor, which is very nice. This is one of my top 5 decks. I will never let this go, and I'm glad I have 2 copies of it so that I always have it. And also in my top most beautiful backs. So that's the Lunne Tarot. So of course M's would not be complete without the Margarete Petersen Tarot. This is the whatever anniversary edition this is, with the burgundy borders, which I like better, and the backs without the white border around it. And the book is a nicer quality also. And the Margarete Petersen does its own. The suits, we have flames, cups, coins, and feathers. And does talk about some numerology in here, and the elements, and the descriptions for the cards. It's like a lot of it is poetry. It's very, very different. Find some of that poetry. There you go. And the ordering of the suits is different than you're used to if you're used to wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. This is a different order. It is not your regular tarot at all. And some of it throws me off. These are gigantic cards. There you go, gigantic. And I had the gray borders and I trimmed it to try to make it more, smaller and able to handle it, but I didn't like the way it came out. Anyway, I had this. So it's very thin. It's a lot like the Forhaxa Not quite as thin as for Huxa, and not quite as slippery, but still thin and slippery. It throws me off that there is kind of a lot of art styles in here, even though it's the same artist. It was made over 20 plus odd years, so there is a lot of variation in that, although there is, in the pips, it's a little more cohesive, and it's in the majors where it really throws me off. Like Magic, this art style feels very different from, usually these feel very different art styles. This is a very famous deck. And it is very deep, and I need to do a deep dive study on it. Right now I'm doing a deep dive on the Marielle, so this one will come. Volarkos is after that, and then I think I'll do the Margaret Petersen. I have more than a couple decks I want to do a deep dive on. So that is, that's the back of the box, the Margaret Petersen Tarot. So this is a Spanish deck, I think from Argentina maybe. And yeah, you can read that. I'm not going to try. My Spanish is atrocious. Took it in college and it's not my best course. So yeah, it seems like it will be really cool once I get to translating this. I have more than a couple decks I need to translate the books for. But it is just the RWS in round form. And I laminated it because it was just basically paper cardstock. So I used my laminator. And it's just it is a recoloring, and it sort of made it look more, watercolor. And then it has these concentric circles in it, which I'm going to guess are explained in the book, but I haven't gotten to that yet. I mean, it is the RWS. You can just read it out of the box if you know RWS. I just think it's very pretty. And I like that it's round. We only have 3 round decks in total between Tarot and Oracle. And then it's kind of color-coded for each suit. So that's cool. I like it. And it wasn't expensive. I think I got it off of eBay. And maybe it was like around $30-ish. Can't even remember. And I think there's a couple other round RWS decks out there on Etsy. You can find them and stuff. It's not. I could have gotten an English-speaking one, but I was very curious in this take on Jung and everything. So I do want to translate the book and read it. So that is my Spanish RWS. Okay, and this is the Marshmallow Marseille by Wandering Oracle. And it is, let's look at those backs. I love this pink box. Looks like it should have French macarons in it, doesn't it? Or some kind of marshmallow candy, chocolate-covered marshmallows. And those are the backs. They're very pretty. It's a tiny, adorable little thing. It's nice cardstock. And it's just a very cute little Marseille. For the most part, pretty much straight up Marseille, but different colors, which I prefer. It just feels cute. And then nice, pretty pips. It really is pretty much straight up Marseille though. There's not a whole lot to look at here. It's really just different colors, and faces are a little bit different maybe. I like it. I like it. That's the Marshmallow Marseille. And this is the Medieval Mischief Tarot. This is a very new deck to me. Pretty much just came out by US Games. Yes. And go. There's this little card in it. There's a nice little white book. It's very tiny. It is pretty much an RWS, but the imagery is very different, and it's just black and white. I've been thinking about coloring it. One of the people, those are the backs. Meredith at Oasis Spiritual Empowerment. She showed this. She also has it. She said she was going to color it. I have not seen her post about coloring it yet. I've been thinking about coloring it. You know, like maybe making the flames orange here. A little bit of color wouldn't hurt it. Start out slow, maybe just like red lips. It's pretty pippy. But not too pippy. And it's a fun little deck. It's not my favorite deck, but I'll keep it for now. That's fun. Death is fun. Yeah, this feels more Marseille. Definitely does its own thing in the imagery, but it follows the system. So that's the medieval Mischief. Okay, and finally, there's a lot of M's. Finally, we are at the end with the Minchiate, I think that's how you say it, Tarot, which is a 97 card deck with, it has astrological sign cards and element cards. And this book, I got this version because this book was highly recommended. Marilyn at Tarot Clarity, I will provide a link to her video on this deck and why I ended up getting it. Just so I wanted to learn about this system. I really like these backs. It's by Brian Williams. The cardstock is very thin. Don't like it. Wish it was better cardstock. But the art isn't like the most awesome. But it's not terrible. I think this will be a nice learning deck. And the majors are very different. So you got, let's see, let's go through them real quick. Grand Duke instead of the High Priestess, the Western Emperor, the Eastern Emperor. Love is at 5, Temperance is at 6, Strength is at 7, Justice is at 8, the Wheel is at 9, Chariot's at 10, Time is at 11, then the Hangman is 12, Death is 13, Devil is 14, Tower is 15, Hope is 16, Prudence, Faith, Charity, Fire is 20, Water is 21. So these are the extra cards that are beyond. But you saw the majors are just like totally different. So all the zodiac cards, Sun, the World, Fame. Okay, so that's 40 cards. And now we're at the minors. And they're kind of pippy, but pips with feeling. And then we have the Page and the Knight, the Queen, and the King. Page, Knight, Queen, King. And the Cups. Page, Knight, Queen, King. And the they're all color, all the minors are color coded, as you may have noticed. Page, handmade, knight, queen, and the king. So yes, it's very different and just a system I wanted to know about. Maybe I won't use it at all, but I'm curious. So that's the Minchiate, if that's how you... Okay, so that is all of my M decks, and this is the largest letter after T, which we will get to. That one's going to be a long one. So I hope you enjoyed that. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the bell if you'd like to see when I have new videos. Please comment below if you have an M deck that you think I should have. And any questions you have. I will try to remember to have links to everything and notate when it's OOP. So take care of yourself and have a great day. Bye. Okay, so I've decided to do a giveaway for the length of all of my decks A to Z videos. So whenever I am done doing all of those videos, this giveaway will end. And it's for the Dreaming Way Tarot. It's a mass market deck. And you've probably seen this before. I'm not going to do a full flip through. It's a very nice deck. Just isn't one that I use. So I've decided to give it away.